Cadet Alexander Maschke. I am a senior here at Loyola University of Chicago. So I'm going to be giving a gist of what mountain school is, which is a specialty school I went to this June. There is a competitive process called CATE. That's where we kind of just get racked and stacked at a brigade level based on your OML level. And given how well you've performed as a cadet, they will see if you're fit for the slot. And thankfully I got picked. So I was lucky enough to go before CST, so I got a little bit more of a real Army experience before I took off for CST, and I really do think it made a huge difference in how I performed. The mountaineering school is actually hosted in Jericho, Vermont, about 35 to 40 minutes outside of Burlington, which is their primary airport. The course itself is 13 days. They will allocate 2 additional days for travel, so it's 15 days total time allocated to the course. So mountain school is quite luxurious. A lot of people actually like to make fun of the people who go because it is very much a gentleman's course. They're not bossing you around or telling you what to do. You arrive the first day, you hand in your paperwork, and you get to go get a nice lunch and hit the bed, check out the barracks, hit the gym if you really want to. But come day one, you start rucking, you're throwing that heavy pack on your back, and you're gonna go hike to the top of a little bluff that they've sectioned off so you can learn the different knots, which is kind of the first phase of the school. Their whole purpose is they're trying to teach you these 13 knots that then play into the rope systems that you can bring back to your program and teach people how to use. The primary systems are a one rope bridge, a hoist for evacuation, an emergency rappel for evacuation, and how to set up just a regular old rappel line so you can get down a bluff. The most valuable experience I got was actually from meeting the guys. You meet a lot of very interesting people. They come from all over the Army, whether it's a soft guy coming from Bragg or just a random National Guardsman coming in from Washington or even Kentucky. And each and every one of them has a pretty unique story, and getting to spend all that time with these people who have real Army experience really makes a difference for just a lowly cadet. At mountain school, I learned a lot about subordinate leadership. There's private first classes and majors who attend, so you're all put in one squad and you have to work together harmoniously. Because of this, that kind of teaches you just need to be your authentic self and learn how to work with people. You don't need to show up and tell people what to do. You just need to be led when you're not the leader, so follow when you're not in charge, and lead when you are. That's all that's expected of you, and just don't be a dick, be a nice person. So the pass-fail rate is about 80-20. 80% of those who attend will graduate as long as they pass the knot test. The vast majority of people tend to fail the 13 different knots because the time standards they give you are pretty slim. You only have about 30 seconds for the majority of the major knots. And then for some of those that are a little bit more complex, they'll give you about 60 seconds to 120 seconds. But that tends to take a lot of people out, as well as the physical aspect. You will be rucking every single day. Some days you may be rucking well over 10 miles without even realizing it. And other days you might do 1.5 to 2. It really just depends on where your skills lie. But again, it is pretty easy to pass the course as long as you're willing to put the work in.
What's the biggest difficulty that you faced at mountaineering school?
For me, it was learning the knots and how they apply to the rope systems. The knots came pretty easily because I had trained them before, but learning how to integrate them into these complicated systems really was a challenge, because every single day your schedule consists of breakfast, an outdoor training session, and an indoor training session. And many of the indoor training sessions will kind of slow you down and make you feel nice and cozy until you have to go outside and throw your 50-pound pack on, walk up to the bluff, which is about 1.5 miles uphill, and then learn how to put together a rope system for knots that you may have brain dumped after you pass the test. So learning how to take in all this information at a rapid pace really does help. One of my biggest goals as a cadet is to be stationed in Alaska once I commission. So it helped me as an officer by giving me a block above my peers with this mountaineering badge. It now will help me train those around me, as well as make me competitive for selection for units that focus on mountaineering, such as the 11th Airborne. My advice for cadets who are looking for a little bit of guidance for the mountain school would simply be read up, practice the knots, and stay in shape. There's not much more you can do other than have a basic knowledge before you arrive and be in a decent enough shape to walk up the hills. Any of the rappel guides will have plenty of resources for you to look at when it comes to the knots, as well as the Northern Warfare Training Center Handbook, which I believe is put out by the Arctic Command. It's about 300 pages long, and there's a 20 to 40 page section that contains the majority of the knots you'll be expected to learn in mountain school. And if all else fails, you can certainly find a tutorial on YouTube. If you want a mountain school slot as a cadet, your best course of action would be to raise that OML ranking. It isn't the most competitive slot in the world, but you still do have to compete on a national level with your peers. It may just be in the brigade level, but you still need to be racked and stacked relatively high to earn a Kate slot. So if you're looking to go to mountain school, make sure you have everything lined up and set up so you rank well on that order of merit list. So to get a little higher on that order of merit list, you can work on your PT. That's the one you have the most control over. You can take some time to really read that doctrine so you understand what your cadre are looking for. Speak with your cadre to find out what they're looking for, and just get involved. By being involved in your program, not only will cadres see your dedication, but they will also give you bonus points. Whether it's Color Guards, Ranger Challenge, Northern Warfare, they all play a significant role. So guys, that's all I've got for a little overview of mountain school. Stay strong and ramble on.